Good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this Saturday morning. Saturday, the 4th of July, 9:05 in the morning, Celtic part time. Bit of good news yesterday. Sky Sports broke the fact that Celtic have re-signed the Oxford. They've not re-signed them, they've given them the contract extension that he had already agreed in principle with Celtic. So it was good to see that. I mean, he was training in Portugal as well. So I think he must have been training in Portugal for a reason. It looks like he's going to catch up with the Celtic team in Portugal rather than heading straight to Ireland or will he? Will he head to Celtic Park and then over to Ireland? We leave for Monday to head over to Ireland. We play the game on Tuesday. If you were Martin O'Neill on that, you would just say, just stay over in Portugal, wouldn't you? There's no need for him to play the Shelbourne game. He's been training in Portugal with a private company. And it'll be interesting to see if he does join up then, or I would just wait till the Portugal and then get it all done over there. You know, he's obviously signed the contract. The contract had already been signed because it was just an extension. Celtic had the option. So it looks like that Celtic will have their first players in the door. The deal for the striker is still going along. It could be the fact that we've got 3 players in the door next week. We could have a goalkeeper in the door. We could have a striker in the door. Oxley-Chamberlain re-signing. But does that keep us happy? When you look at the fact that Celtic still need a lot of players in, we need a stronger midfield. Oxlade-Chamberlain, for me, brings all the experience in the world for the Champions League, which may be beneficial to Celtic in the game to get us into the Champions League. But when it comes to the Champions League proper, I think that Celtic will need to get some faster and more mobile players. Stephen says the Ox will be on 50 grand a week. Forrest on 20. James Forrest is not on 20 grand a week, mate. James Forrest is not on 20 grand a week. And Oxlade-Chamberlain will be nowhere near 50 grand a week. There is not a chance that Celtic will be paying Oxlade-Chamberlain 50 grand a week. And it's not a couple of 30 plus midfield. We need young legs with physicality and pace. Yeah, we do. We need that for Europe. I don't think that the midfield that we have at the moment is good enough for European football. I think Kalmak sometimes gets. Kalmak played better with Oxlade-Chamberlain in the team last year. Let's not deny that. But when you take out Rio Hatate, who will be moving on, when you take out Arne Engels, who will be moving on, that's quite a bit of the midfield that could give you something going forward. We're going to have to bring in. Don't know. I want us to bring in a six. If anything, I'd like to see us bringing in a big commanding holding midfield player to allow Callum McGregor to move further forward and Oxlade-Chamberlain, so that none of the two of them are sitting in the holding midfield. I'd like to see a big, a tank in that midfield, because we've been bullied in the midfield over the years in European football and domestically as well. Let me just jump on to. I'm seeing a lot of the stuff going on about. The cheating going on from the referees and Messi at the World Cup. But anyway, the less about that, the better. When you look at the Sky Sports update yesterday, let me just see. Quinny's talking about that Ange versus Roger will be box office. Yeah, talking about Ange Postecoglou, Quinny. God, Rogers will get his totties from Ange Postecoglou, won't he? And then who cares about that? It's 2 ex-Celtic managers in money leagues that is. Morning, Baz. Celtic had doors closed game at Lennoxtown yesterday against Partick Thistle. Well, there we go. Celtic had a game yesterday. Well, you think they would kind of have little games like that, wouldn't you? Closed door. No Ajax will get what he wants on last season. Let's jump straight into the comments this morning. I hope this season Callum gets involved more and less point and move. He didn't do the point and move stuff when Oxley-Chamberlain was playing. I've said this before many times. Callum McGregor came through a system at Celtic and came through at a time where he had way better midfielders around him, and maybe it's the lack of the knowledge of the game from the younger defenders, and Callum McGregor's trying to bring them on with that. When he's got someone like Oxley-Chamberlain, I still would like to see us bring in a more physical midfielder, someone that will not get bossed about. Oxley-Chamberlain's a fantastic addition to the squad, but ultimately it's a squad that is it's needing a lot of work done to it, and we all know that the work that's needing done to it is not. We're not speculating here, we're not speculating at all. We all know that it's just it is what it is with Celtic having had about 14 players leave. I'm just saying the corruption with that Argentina game was unreal. Sorry. Let's get back to Celtic. Mark my words, at the end of the season, Ox will not have played 90 minutes in a game and he'll maybe score one goal all season. Well, he scored 2 goals last season. So, and it's all about having the squad. I think that the quality that he brings, having won every everything in the game. It is unusual that we criticise a player that has done everything in the game. McGregor played best in the number 8 role with Bruni behind him. He did that, and I think that he plays better further forward than he does in the holding midfield. Well, we've seen the Ox quality on the ball. It will help us when teams are sitting deep, and we need to break them down. What does it do for the Champions League game? I mean, are we bringing them in to make sure? Is it worth? Now, here's a question for you. We'll do a poll question on this one this morning. I didn't even shaved this morning yet. Terrible, terrible. Start a poll. Right. Here's the question: is the Ox worth it just to get into the Champions League? We complain about Celtic not bringing in players to get us to the big stage. If Oxlade-Chamberlain's been brought in to give his experience for the one game where Celtic always struggle, is that worth it? If he brings in the £40 million, if he gets it, if he's the player that's on the pitch that helps us win that game, has that deal been worth it? Tell me in the comments, and we'll see what the poll's doing. Is the Ox worth it just to get into the Champions League? 79% say yes, 21% no. If you're in the no camp, tell me why not. Tell me why you don't think that he's worth it just to get us into the Champions League. That'll be an interesting one. A lot of people are talking about the Duran guy. I wonder how long it'll take for the Green Brigade to come out with a Duran song. Yeah, let's play Golden Oldies, 20, 30, 40k a week. What's the boots and the kits? If Fox was such a great player, why did Martin not play him in the split fixtures? Ask Martin O'Neill that. Don't know why you're asking me. Don't know. Martin O'Neill played the players that he thought would win the games. Simple as that. There's quite a few players. Why didn't Rio Hitati get dropped? Never mind just to the bench. Rio Hitati got dropped altogether. That should be the question. It's all about attitude and stuff, isn't it? But anyway, Ox is definitely worth having, says Anthony. Duran looks decent. It was, and I'm just waiting to the morning Baz. Just as you started, the orange mob came marching around the corner. So I've turned the volume up to drown them out. Yes, even better. So if I'm not hated enough. It might be good to get the Ox in a pre-season. We'll see where he is. It's interesting. Damn, and Carl Mack centre mid together. Yep, got a defensive midfielder in. put them further forward? Would it be better? No, why does he deserve Champions League games? Others don't. Players like Paulo should be in before him, all because the Ox played for different teams. Has Paulo Bernardo done enough to prove that he can? He was in the squad last year. Martin O'Neill's obviously looking at the attributes of every player. Martin O'Neill's seen Paulo Bernardo. The question is why is Paulo Bernardo not pushed on to become a better player so that he's in the team before Oxley-Chamberlain? You know, there's always the comment. There's always the comment saying that Paulo Bernardo doesn't get a game because he plays in the same position as Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor wasn't having a fantastic time last season yet, and even when he was carrying a bit of injury, Paulo Bernardo still wasn't doing enough in training. You know, we can sit and say, you know, Paulo Bernardo should be getting the chance before him. If Paulo Bernardo's doesn't looking good in training, the coaches can only go what they see in training day to day and week to week. And maybe Paulo Bernardo's just not as great as what we once thought he was. I don't know. Ox will be on the bench in the Champions League. I think it's a good player to have in the Champions League, even on the bench. I think he might start more games than especially if we lose. Let's just wait and see. I mean, we're all saying that this and that's going to happen, and there's one thing for sure. Why did Martin have to persuade Ox to sign? I don't think he had to persuade him. He had a contract already there. He didn't have to persuade him. When he signed the contract last year, Celtic only wanted to give him the option of 1 year, and that was last season. Oxley-Chamberlain wanted the 2 seasons, didn't he, in the contract? So it was already there, but both parties had to agree to it, and Celtic were late agreeing it by all accounts. So I wouldn't say that Martin O'Neill had to convince him, especially when he was training in Portugal. I think that was probably the bit that gave it away. You know, I'm training in Portugal. The deal's done. I'll catch up with you in Portugal. So yeah, I don't think that Martin had to persuade Ox to stay. But maybe Martin O'Neill will come out and tell us. Fans moaning about getting a Champions League ready players. And one time we keep, he's washed up and he's not good enough. James, you have got it spot on. And it is a very Celtic thing, isn't it? You get, and even, listen, when I looked onto the announcement by Sky, and it's full of Rangers fans laughing at the fact that Ox is past it and he's an old geezer. And yeah, can we just remind them that they finished third in the league and they finished with 14 million in debt, whilst Celtic made a 33 million profit last season and won the league and a cup double. Could have almost been a treble, but never mind. Callum, centre defensive midfield, moving the ball about, playing for an attacking midfielder. I wouldn't give Ox more than 20k a week, in my opinion. With pre-season behind him, we'll see if he's much better and fitter. I don't get it why people think he wasn't fit. He was training, was he not training with Liverpool before he came to Celtic? So his fitness was there. It was match fitness that Martin O'Neill said that he didn't have. Match fitness comes with playing pre-season games. The fact that Oxley-Chamberlain didn't play bounce games, he was only training with the squad down at Liverpool last summer. So there's a big difference in your physical fitness. I think his physical fitness is there, but it's just up to match speed, and that's why it's that's why Oxley-Chamberlain wasn't getting the games that a lot of people thought he might get. Even Martin O'Neill said, don't know, that his match fitness just isn't there at the moment. We'll wait and see. Paulo hasn't had a proper chance. What do you call a proper chance? Because there's many players that come on as subs, and you're thinking, I don't know. There's obviously something that a player does not get game time just because a player doesn't get game time because there's players in the squad that are better than him. It's as simple as that. It's nothing about Paulo Bernardo not getting a fair crack at the whip. It's about players proving on the training pitch that they are the ones that are hungry to get on the team sheet that week. And Paulo Bernardo's maybe not pushing himself hard enough. Don't know. You would have to ask You would have to ask Martin O'Neill about that. Ox and McGregor have got the experience. Bring in a couple of younger players with legs and power. We should be fine in that department. I wouldn't give Ox more than 20 grand a week. Is that not the second time I've seen that one? Bernardo should be getting more game time. Happy Independence Day to the Americans. 250 years of causing mayhem around the world. Chilpel says he's glad that we've got Ox backs. Would you take that Devlin for midfield? He hates us with a passion, mate. I don't think that he would come to Celtic. There's more chance of him going to that mob across the city. Stephen Johnson's in the house this morning. He might come good with full pre-season under his belt. If the Ox has triggered another year, then O'Neill wants him. That's good enough for me. It's good enough for me as well. I can understand why. I mean, I did say that I thought that Ox might not get another contract because he's similar to Callum McGregor in pace-wise, nothing else. But if Martin O'Neill wants players that has done it in the Champions League, and listen, if Martin thinks it's prudent to bring in a player, even if he gets us into the Champions League, I think that will be a significant leap in Celtic's finances going forward. But Johnny says it's good enough for him if Martin O'Neill wants him. Bernardo is a strange one. To me, Brendan trusted him in Champions League games a few years back, and then he's not been seen in the team. It's true, isn't it? Brendan's first year, he preferred Paulo Bernardo playing in the Champions League than some other players. There has to be something going on that's it's a strange one, like you say. He did persuade him. Anthony Joseph said Martin had to persuade him. You had to persuade him to stay at Celtic rather than go at another team. He maybe thought that having not get the game time that he thought he would get. Now, here's me just surmising about it. If he thought that if he was going to get more game time, and he went to Celtic and he didn't get the game time that he thought he was going to get, maybe he was well within his right to go, I want to play football, mate, Martin. I'm not here to sit about on the bench for a season. And maybe Martin had to give him some reassurances that he's going to be a valuable member of the squad. It's maybe something as simple as that. I mean, would you, if you're that age and you had done and won everything possible in domestic football, everything, there's nothing that Oxley-Chamberlain hasn't won, and then you go to a club, and then who was it? Was Stephen says, why didn't Martin play him in any of the games after the split? Well, maybe that preyed on his mind, and maybe he went, well, Martin, you didn't use me the games after the split. Those are important games that won us the league. And, why would I want to come to a club if I'm going to be sitting about on the bench? I could go anywhere down south. I could go and grab a team down in England, and I'll get 90 minutes every week. But then Martin's went, but will you get the Champions League football? Come on, one last crack at the whip at the Champions League. I think that the Champions League is the bit that's got it over the line. Anyway, that was Glaswegian Ian saying that Anthony Joseph said that Martin O'Neill had to convince him. Need to sign the Capo Verde keeper. He's 40-year-old. Come on. You're on about Oxley-Chamberlain. Jesus, come on. Seriously? You're on about Oxley-Chamberlain not being good enough, but you want to bring in a 40-year-old goalkeeper. The Ox was on honeymoon, was he not? Yeah, he did get married and stuff. But it was heavily reported last night that he had to be persuaded. No worries, Chilpel. Stephen, you know what will happen, and you know what will happen in the comments section as well. It'll not just be me. It'll be everybody saying, why the f did we sign that Chamberlain? He's pish. It will happen. Don't know. We're not denying it. Bring on the watch-alongs. Get in there. Ox isn't past it. He needs more game time. Reports have been wrong before. Yeah, that's it. Looks like the Duran striker. I like the look of the Duran striker. The Duran striker. That'll definitely happen. Arsenal, Baz. Arsenal. It was Arsenal that is it. Oh well, I knew it was. I don't know. It's Arsenal. Not going to moan about keeping the Ox. Hopefully he can come back sharp. If we finish the window without strengthening, then I will moan at that. I will wait and see before getting reactionary. Says Ray Ray coming in from Vietnam. Bernardo has had a ton of chances. I'm not buying into the theory that he's not had a chance. Of course he has. I'm hoping that Kyle Yuri makes the breakthrough this season. Do you think Celtic will sign back Sarachi? It's an interesting one. I think that I've got a funny feeling Celtic will try and get him on loan. Celtic will try and go down the cheap road and get him cheap as chips. It's just the way that the board are, isn't it? But we'll wait and see. Motherwell signed a player yesterday. We're the only club now not to sign any players, says Stephen. Yeah, but all those clubs, every club in Scotland started back a week before Celtic. They all started back, it was almost a full week. And they started back the Monday, and Celtic came crawling back on the Friday, only some of the players. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. I think that there's obviously stuff going on. Good luck to Mexico tonight. Are they playing tonight? What is the fixtures tonight? Oh, what time is that game on at? Yeah, they'll win tonight, won't they? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I thought it was going to get moved. There was talk of it getting moved from 2 o'clock in the morning, so it could be so that the English could watch it. What's the early game tonight? It's Canada, isn't it? I think I'll do a watch along on the Canada-Morocco game. This could be the last game of the World Cup for Canada. And Alistair Johnston. Now, this is a good game because this will let you see the level that Alistair Johnston's at. Because Morocco's a good team. But then again, don't play too well, Alistair, because I don't want you having someone coming in and bidding for you in this window. Maybe Ox is in because Kalmak is off. Ange in Saudi now. He might be tempted. Bernardo is rotten every time he came on. Shit, both managers never fancied him. Must be an attitude problem in training. There we go. It's all about opinions. I don't think you can play the Ox and Callum McGregor at the same time. We did last season. And I thought that they played fantastically well together last season. As the cats go climbing up. Have we brought anybody in yet? Nope. I think we're going to. My prediction is that we bring in a minimum of 3 players next week just to get us well underway. Martino was a genius with players with a point to prove. Exactly. Because that's what happened with Chris Sutton. Chris Sutton had a point to prove, and Martin O'Neill, you could say that Martin O'Neill resurrected Chris Sutton's career. Because Chris Sutton went from being, I don't know, an expensive striker to being a Chelsea dud. So you never know. We could be sitting at this time next year going, oh, I wish we had got Oxley-Chamberlain a couple of years earlier. We'll wait and see. I don't think that O'Neill had to persuade Ox. It was probably more his missus living life here that swayed it for him. Interesting. Bernardo had loads of games since the cup final goal versus Rangers, and he hasn't taken the bull by the horns. He's been a ghost when starting. He hasn't changed games when coming on. This is true, really. I'll give you that one. I'm that stubborn. If you've got to be persuaded to join us, that's not what we need. We need players that actually want to be here. I think it's if Martin had to have a word with them and say, no, if Celtic says, right, we're going to do that other year that's in your contract, we're going to trigger that, and he's maybe went, wait a minute, lads, wait a minute, I'm not here to just sit down on the bench. Do you know what I mean? I'm not finishing my career being a bench warmer. And you can understand when you've played at the level that Oxley-Chamberlain's played at, you're no one to finish your career sitting at Celtic, sitting on your ass for 52 weeks. And then go, well, that was a fucking waste of time. Sorry for swearing. Don't know, and just going, well, that was a waste of a year. I could have been playing football. I've only got Oxley-Chamberlain's only maybe got another couple of years left in him at a reasonable level of football before he hangs up his boots. You don't want to be wasting your final years in football at a club where you're not going to make the bench. You're maybe going to make the bench and coming on and trying to be an impact player. No player wants that. Don't know. So maybe that's if it was me or you, you would definitely have reservations about staying at Celtic, just going on what happened at the end of last season. So I don't blame him if that's what happened. But anyway, have I got something wrong apart from one good goal? What did Ox really do? I think it's what he brings to the dressing room as well. And when you bring in winners, proven winners, they can help bring on the rest of the squad. That's my guess. McGregor, Ox, McCowan is starting the first league game against Dundee. God help us. Stephen's got the fear already. He's got major league fear. Never mind major league football or soccer. He's got the fear of our middle. We need more fight in the middle of the park. I think that we'll get it. Definitely. Why is it taking so long for the Sriracha deal? 2 million is a no-brainer for me. Sriracha, maybe he needs convinced to come to Celtic. You know, you've got Kieran Tierney. He couldn't displace Kieran Tierney. I don't know, it's maybe a case of, once again, you're in a very difficult situation where a player goes, why didn't Greg Taylor want to stay at Celtic? Because he knew Kieran Tierney was coming in and he would get even less game time. It's getting, when you're at a top team playing at the top level of football, hopefully that we will be next season, you need a strong squad. You need to have a manager that likes squad rotation. Can Martin O'Neill get the fine balance between bringing in an Oxley-Chamberlain, bringing in Sriracha, giving them enough football over the course of the season, playing in 4 competitions, trying to get as far as we can, trying to just get to the last, I don't know, 32 even, 16? Can we get to, we'll never get to the 16, are we? Can we just get out the group phase for the first time? Would be my big thing for the Champions League. I'm not too sure if the Tawanda one's going to happen. I think he might end up somewhere. Champions League football, we have to qualify first. Yes, this is very, very true. Bernardo will surely get some game time pre-season. The squad is threadbare. Let's see how he does. It doesn't matter. Paulo Bernardo had games pre-season before. Anyway. And he actually done more and he wasn't offered the extra year. Paul, I'll go back to that interview. I've reiterated that. I'm going to try and find it this afternoon. The interview with Martin O'Neill when he was asked about Oxley-Chamberlain being fit enough and at his peak The thing is Oxley-Chamberlain isn't at his peak, but he brings in a wealth of experience. There's a bit of a difference. Did we sing Yang's Misses up? I hope so. I heard that Duran's singing is coming undone. That's just it, isn't it? Anyway, how long we've been on for the half an hour this morning? Apologies for not getting all your comments in this morning. Greg Taylor would have stayed if we offered the right money. Celtic would just be cheap as usual. I don't believe that for 1 minute. I do not believe that Greg Taylor would have stayed. There's no way would Greg Taylor have stayed. Even not a chance. Don't believe a word he says. Keepers are looking seemingly in the 5 million bracket. So does Martin O'Neill not trust Sinasalo? Don't know. Maybe thinks that he's not at the right age yet. I don't know. No idea. Anyway, right, that's me done and dusted for this morning. I've got some HTML code that I need to write because, as you can see, that the screen has gone. I did rewrite the code, but something happened and it ended up looking like this. I have parts in the code that isn't meant to be there. So let me get that sorted out. I don't know why the breaking news bit's in there and all that. So I need to get that sorted out this afternoon. Have a fantastic day. Make sure you join me on the Bazda's football channel this evening. I'm going to watch the Canada versus Morocco game. Morocco, stats-wise, the probability of a win, Morocco are sitting at 54% before a ball is kicked, Canada at 19%, and the probability of extra time is sitting at 27%. Will Canada get the same kind of cheating against them as some of the other teams in the World Cup have had to put up with, or will Morocco get put out? Because it seems from the outside that the Americans don't really want any of the African teams doing well in this World Cup. Have a fantastic... Oh, yeah, Stephen Johnson, you're right. What about the poll? In the poll, there has been... is the Ox worth it? Just to get... Thank you, Stephen, for that. Reminding me. Is the Ox worth it? Just to get into the Champions League? If he is on fantastic money. 75% say yes, 25% said no. No, 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 no. 25% said no, 75% yes. That's it. They have spoken. Anyway, they've spoken. I've spoken. I'm off. If you're around tonight, make sure you join on the Bazda's football channel if you want to watch the Canada. Do you really want Alistair Johnston to have a great game going to the next stage of the World Cup and then be picked up by someone else and sold in the summer, only for Celtic to bring in the mad wee Mexican? Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are all around the world.